Hello, everyone, and welcome to my show, Autumn is Here. I'm your host, Francine Crawford, and today we're going to speak to Budy Whitfield. She is a caregiver, and she wants to share her stories. I love hearing caregiver stories because you never know what may resonate with the audience. So welcome to the show, Budy.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for wanting to share your story. When people share their stories, you never know what's going on with other people, and it does help other people get through and even know what to expect sometimes. So tell me a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. So I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been in the field for about 20 years. So I've been mostly in the field working with children and families. I have my own private practice. So I work with women who experience trauma. And I'm also a leadership coach. So really coaching women in the space of leadership and how to be their best authentic self. And so besides that, I'm a wife, mom. I am the youngest of 5 brothers and caregiving my dad who has Lewy Body Alzheimer's. So I don't know if people know what Lewy Body, that part, there's so many different segments with Alzheimer's, but Lewy body is almost in the same line as Parkinson's. It just doesn't give like the physical ailments of Parkinson's. It more impacts your, besides the cognition, just like Alzheimer's does, it really impacts the level of aggression and also hallucinations. So they tend to kind of hallucinate, think things that are not there. And so it's a really more of like they call it like a bit of an aggressive form of Alzheimer's.
Okay, so you're a caregiver for your dad.
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you been a caregiver for your dad?
So I've taken responsibility, I call it responsibility, right? Of taking care of my dad's needs since 2017. My dad had a heart surgery. And from there, I noticed after the heart surgery, he was more forgetful. Alzheimer's runs in the family. He actually has both the genes. His mom had Alzheimer's. One of his brothers passed away, had Alzheimer's, and actually the 2 last brothers that remain have some form of dementia that is starting. My dad is obviously more of the advanced stage, but his 2 brothers who are left also have Alzheimer's. And so in 2017, I noticed that, there were things off with the finances. So my mom started managing the financial books. I started managing all of his medical care. And then since then, things have kind of progressed little by little. So I completely manage all of his medical care and needs, and I'm his power of attorney.
Oh, okay, okay. And in his family, like his brothers, you said they're showing some signs of it. Do you think they have the same kind, or it's just?
For right now, no, but they definitely, the forgetfulness, the repetition. One of his brothers, I am concerned, which is the youngest one. My dad is like the 3 that are left. My dad is kind of like the middle of that 3. The youngest one, he has shown some minor little aggression, but the hallucination and the paranoia, those of my other uncles haven't shown that. And what's interesting enough too is that them 3 have also had prostate cancer. So something happened in between that cluster of brothers. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. So with your dad now, like how is it going quickly? Is he
Yeah. So let me just
progressing?
share. He had a second heart surgery in March. And so they did say because he was going to go under general anesthesia that it might kind of progress his disease, which
Really?
we understood, but it was either we kind of progress his disease or he has about a year because of the heart situation. So we chose to allow him to have the surgery. Now, my dad ended up having a stroke in August, on August 21st. And from there, he developed brain bleed. From there, he developed an inability to speak clearly. So he has severe aphasia. So he'll speak Spanish, English, conjumble the words, really can't make a sentence together. He is now in a wheelchair. So all that stroke kind of progressed his disease furthermore. He's had some hallucinations, and now he's become very aggressive, very, very aggressive. So managing that aggression piece, getting emotional is hard. I think that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, how do you
Yeah.
have support? What does your support look like?
So my brothers have had to step in. In the Latino culture, usually the girl is like the one stepping in as almost like a pseudo mom.
Mhm.
Um, and so they've had to step in and they've been really supporting. Like my brother, I mentioned before we started recording, my brother texted me, he's over there this weekend to support and help that this is a lot. It's taken a toll on us, but we've all had to kind of rotate our role as far as all of our needs. I couldn't make it to take my dad to one of his rehab appointments. My other brother went and took him. So having multiple siblings is really important, and siblings who matter and who want to support. I really feel for those who are only children or have a sibling who lives in another country or so, because this is not easy and it burns you out.
It burns you out. It's hard by yourself. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm burnt.
So
Burnt.
do you get any help from outside help, like the Alzheimer's Association and stuff like that? Have you?
So the Alzheimer's Association, no. So when he got out of rehab in October, we ended up having visiting nurse services. So everything is such a long process here in New York, and especially for the elderly. And I think that's the most frustrating piece that people don't talk about. Yes, your parent or the person that you're caregiving can have this disease, but we don't talk about all these system barriers. If you have this insurance, if you don't have this insurance, and it's going to cost this, and you can't do this unless you do this, and this needs a prior authorization and approval. And it's like you end up feeling so defeated with the system, especially because my dad and my mom immigrated to this country. They're citizens now, but they immigrated to this country. He's worked hard all his life till retirement. And then because you make an excess of income, you have to do like systemically, the elderly population are not well taken care of. And I could tell while in some or certain cultures, it's so important to kind of take care of your family. And that's why we're still caring for my dad at home and haven't placed him in a nursing home. But what we don't talk about is how the system still does a disservice to the elderly population.
Mhm. It doesn't.
So right now, hopefully December 1st, he starts with home attendant services, but looks he's been home since October 10th.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
How is your mother in this? How is she doing?
Um, my mom, so my brother and I were venting about it like earlier, like your mom.
Your mom. Now it's your mom.
I feel like she feels there's this responsibility as a wife that she has to take the full burden herself, and she doesn't. And the reason I say that is because even with visiting nurse services, was able to send in a home attendant for 3 hours a day for 5 days a week. Not a lot of time, but even in that short time period, she still like wants to stay there supervised. Like, give these people a list of what you do and go relax. So it concerns me that she does that. But what's interesting is that when it's my turn, she's completely hands off. She allows me to like here you go.
Yeah. She trusts you. She trusts you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when other people, if she doesn't know them, it feels uncomfortable to give up that, that care to someone she doesn't know. So yeah. Wow. Wow. And the impact on the family, like how has things changed? How has it impacted your family? Has it brought you together? Has it separated? Has it caused friction? How is that?
So it's brought us together, but I think the friction that I've felt, and I think it's that caregiving all responsibility on me, is that burnout piece where it's just like, I get all the phone calls. I have to manage all the appointments. I have to ensure that all the medications are refilled and this and that. Like it feels really hard. So when I try to designate those things to my siblings, sometimes they're able to do it and sometimes they're not. And it took me sending them a message to be like, guys, I'm fried. I'm fried. Like, this is a lot. I could clearly remember 2 weeks ago, it was a Friday. I'm trying to work remotely. I'm trying to manage my father. I'm on the phone figuring out insurance. I'm on the phone figuring out the home attendant services. Which company am I going to pick? I'm reading the documents because this is foreign. This is new to me. And I'm like, well, which one do you pick? Which one is the right choice that you make? calling all his doctors to see if we switch insurances, if they'll take all of this in a span, while also saying, hey, by the way, the pharmacy didn't give us these 2 prescriptions. We only got a 30-day supply. Let me message this doctor. Let me call this, like all these different things in a span of a day, where I left so frazzled and even feeling guilty afterwards, because I was like, oh my goodness, the most important medication. We didn't get that one. That's the one for the aggression. It's like, but that pressure was, it's like, it felt like so much. So when I left, and I felt like I had to like kind of release just some crying, just to kind of let it go. And I've expressed it to my husband, like, this is a lot, like, this is a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're emotional with it too, because you're taking care of someone's life, so.
Right.
Do you take time for yourself? And when you do, how do you feel? Do you feel comfortable doing that? Do you feel guilty because you're not around, or you're not?
I do. So interesting enough, my husband just had surgery last week. He had hip replacement surgery. So I had to literally tell my brothers and send videos to them on how to manage the medication, hear all his appointments, because I said, I'm unavailable. For this time period, I have to show up and be there for my husband. He's allowed me the space to be there consistently for my father. It's my time to pour into my husband. And so it's like I got off one shift and walked into the next, but it's a different way. But I was able to put that boundary. Even for Thanksgiving, I was going to have everyone come here, and I just thought about it, and I was like, I can't. I need a break. I think I need a break from everybody. I was like, yeah, not coming to my house. Sorry.
You got to take
Sorry for the last minute changes, but I need a break. But my mornings are really sacred for me. I wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, depending. And I have to sit in prayer, and I have to sit in journaling. That's my sacred time. That's my time where I can repent. I can pray. I can just get more connected within myself, and just understand the space that I'm in. I'm in therapy as well. I'm a therapist, but I'm in therapy as well. And that's my space for myself. I work out, I talk to my friends. I'll text my friends like, guys, I feel burnt. Like, this is a lot.
Oh, okay, good that you have that outlet that you can talk to somebody. That's yeah. So what would you say to someone who is becoming a caregiver, and things that you might have experienced that you wish you would have known that you didn't know, or some experience that you think is something important that you want to tell people that, this situation?
So I think the first thing might sound cliche, but you got to know your capacity. And you have to understand that your capacity is going to consistently shift as their needs change. The next thing is legal documents are so important. If you don't have that power of attorney, if you don't have access to bank accounts or certain things, especially for those with dementia, as they continue to decline, it becomes harder and harder. Like the Medicaid office doesn't have me as the power of attorney. So my mom, because they're married, can speak to them. I can't, but then they asked for him to verify. My father can't speak. So those little simple things where you never think, like, I never thought that, he would suffer the stroke and this would happen, but legal stuff, understanding someone's wishes and what they want, and honoring that. Because when my dad was in ICU, because he had the hemorrhage, he had the stroke, they're asking all these questions to me. And, I had to make decisions that I didn't know what were the end results of. So understanding someone's wishes is really important. I had a conversation actually with both my parents, and I must have looked crazy to my siblings. But back when the pandemic started happening, I was like, we're having a family meeting. God forbid something happens to mom and dad. I need to know their wishes. Where do they want to be buried? What do they want to do? What are they, like, always had that in process just in the event. I got access to their bank account. I'm on their bank. Like, you just start learning different things, but like bank account, having access to their bank account is really important. Becoming a power of attorney, a healthcare proxy, understanding what their wishes are, also creating a routine and a schedule. But most importantly is taking time and space for yourself and release the guilt.
Yes.
Because I think the biggest thing is you feel that if you're not there, they think, or someone else thinks that you're not good enough, or you're not doing the job. And that's not it. If I'm not okay, and I can't take care of you. And I think that's something I've been trying to instill in my mom. But it's going to take, it's old school mentality. It's like she has that martyrism that she feels like she has to kind of do this service, and she can take a break when anyone is there to support her.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the audience?
I will say that if you are in a space of caregiving, that you have to learn 3 things. You are important. They are important, but you are just as important as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your story. And I'm sure it will help someone. And, I just wish you the best with it. And just, remember to take time for yourself. But, you do the best that you can. You do the best that you can. I'm so glad that you have family support, because sometimes it's tear families apart. So I'm so glad that everybody is coming together and your family is there to help you. So that's great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.